like Superman to tear it down. Call as a quarterback and send him out. I feel it, air it out, air it out. I hit it, clear it out, clear it out. I feel like Superman to tear it down. Call as a quarterback and send him out. Take off. I'm on a rocket, a space dog. Bought a new car from Elon, wanna race. I've been asking how long is it gonna take. I've been cracking the car, had to break it safe. I've been riding my wrongs, had to change my ways. I was stuck in one place, so I had to shake. They try holding me down, but I found my way. Roddy Rich and so bicycle, I mean. Ride away, then my heart went on ice again. Find the balance, my patience been going thin. In the field every day till I reach the end. I've been up on your side like we had a bounce. In a way that they think that it's stopping now. I've been waiting for my turn to come around. I've been waiting for my turn to come around. Air it out, air it out. I had to clear it out, clear it out. I feel like Superman to tear it down. Call as a quarterback and send him out. I feel it, air it out, air it out. I had to clear it out, clear it out. I feel like Superman to tear it down. Call as a quarterback and send him out.
What's up, football fans? This is the Air It Out podcast. My name is Avery Collins. That guy right there is the one and only. And he is the only analyst that I see here today, unfortunately, but fortunately at the same time, because he is a great analyst. So, Juan, for the Air It Out podcast, brought to you by Inside the Hash. Just say what's up to the people.
What is up, people? I am just happy that we got two terrific analysts. We can get in here to break down. I'm still coming off an exciting week 2, and then the start of week 3 was maybe not as exciting, but still good enough just to be able to enjoy the fact that football is back. I can't say that enough because I love saying that football is back, football is back, football is back. It's the same kind of feeling I got at last week's Detroit Lions Seahawks game when I was there. And kind of had a quick little funny story before we get rolling. So I was in the tunnel for the Lions game, and I come across Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's Pete Carroll. What do I say? Or do I say something at all? Do I just mind my own business? And I'm just like, all right, let me try to say. I asked Coach, "Hey, Coach, you got any gum?" Because Pete Carroll is known for being a big gum chewer on the sideline. He racks up stacks of gum in his mouth as he's chewing. And then I didn't think much of it. I thought he would just laugh and walk off, and that's what I was gonna do. And then out of nowhere, he throws me a piece of Hubba Bubba. Pete Carroll throws me a piece of his gum, and I'm just like, no, I get it. Oh man.
I love it. I love it.
One of the greatest professional moments of my life.
That's awesome. I'm glad you were able to experience that. That's super dope. Yeah, Pete Carroll, to all accounts, has been a great coach, great individual. So shout out to Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks. But this is not the Seattle Seahawks podcast. This is the Air It Out podcast where we talk all things pro football. So we're gonna get into today's topics. We're not going to waste any time. Starting a little bit morbid, unfortunately, because we're back again with some breaking news. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not heard, Nicholas Chubb, running back for the Cleveland Browns, has suffered a season-ending injury. It was extremely gruesome. If you are squeamish, I encourage you, do not go look up this video. Do not go look up any pictures on it. It was a horrendous injury. One of those injuries that kind of sobers you and reminds you that football is a very dangerous, very brutal, very strenuous game, a very physical game. And it just kind of reminds you that it's just a game at the end of the day. And yeah, so prayers up for Nick Chubb, his family, all those involved. Pretty bad injury. So, again, season is over for him. This is also the same leg that he injured previously in college, where he kind of blew out his knee towards MCL, ACL, PCL in the same leg. So, people are speculating and wondering, is he going to be able to bounce back? I personally believe he will. Nicholas Chubb has some of the. It's funny because he has some of the strongest legs in the NFL from a lifting standpoint. I mean, the guy is squatting well over 600 pounds. So anyway, long story short, Nick Chubb's season is over. Juan, what was your initial reaction to, I guess, the injury and the news itself? Were you able to? Did you witness it live? What happened on your end?
I wasn't able to witness it live because I was driving home from work that night, but I had heard like everything that had happened about it. It's truly like a sad thing to see. This is like one of the premier backs in the NFL. Nick Chubb is probably the top number one back in the NFL, arguably, because he's just such a strong runner. So is instinctual and smart when it comes to finding a hole in a line or chugging through a defensive scrum in order to get the extra yardage that he needs. He's your number one fantasy guy. He's your top weapon in a Kevin Stefanski offense that is built not around Deshaun Watson, not around Amari Cooper, but around Nick Chubb. And now you lose what is essentially the identity of your team, and you have to supplement them with. While I applaud the effort that Jerome Ford gave, you also have to bring in the name escapes me right now. Kareem Hunt. You also have to bring Kareem Hunt to try to like bring familiarity of the offense and more stability at the position. But as much as I love both of those backs, and Jerome Ford is a great back, and Kareem Hunt is an underrated back, you can't replace the production and style that Nick Chubb brings to this team. To put it simply, Nick Chubb was the Cleveland Browns. And I feel like now it's a matter of trying to not only make up the production that he contributed, but also probably trying to find a new identity and a new strength going forward. And talking about the injury itself, yeah, it is a brutal injury to watch. And it's a complete tear of his ACL, MCL. Like every ligament in that knee is destroyed. And I just want to call out to Minkah Fitzpatrick. You are not a dirty player, sir. I am on your side. You did not mean for that to happen. Hits like this happen in the NFL. You have to go low. You have to go high. And the way that this game is situated, it is a split-second decision. And you're not only trying to make the best possible play, but you're also trying to make sure you're not hurting people. Unfortunately, the latter just did not happen. So I'm on your side, Mr. Fitzpatrick, and you do not need to blame yourself for what happened, and nor should you have to take responsibility for what happened. Freak accidents happen. This is a game of high collision, high intensity, high speed. And that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. I'm glad that you brought up Minkah Fitzpatrick in that regard. I agree with you. I mean, I think it's a situation. I heard Ray Lewis say it before. I'm not opposed to hurting anybody on the football field. I actually want to hurt as many people as possible in the football field, but I never want to injure somebody. And so what he's alluding to is I want to hit you so hard that it hurts, that you feel that I hit hard and that it makes you second guess whether you want to get hit by me. So maybe next time you don't catch that pass across the middle. Maybe next time you go down and slide if you see me coming. Maybe next time you run out of bounds because I hit so hard that it hurts. But I'm not opposed to that. But I am opposed to injuring somebody. I don't ever want anybody to get injured and not be able to play the game that they love, play the game that puts food on their family's table, play the game that is their primary source of income, at least for this portion of their life. So, yeah, man, I agree with you there. And like you said, it's a very intense, physical, but very fast game. And you have to make millisecond decisions. And trying to tackle Nick Chubb, who's 230 pounds up top, you're talking about Minkah Fitzpatrick, who might be 200 pounds himself, if that. And so you're saying to hit this guy who is notorious for running through people up top? No, I don't think so. You want to take a guy like that, you want to take his legs out. And obviously that was Minkah's aim, was to take his legs out, not to injure him that was just a situation where his foot got caught in the ground, and unfortunately, there was another guy who came in at the last minute on top of the play as well. It just wasn't the best situation, and I'm sure Nick Chubb knows that. I'm sure Nick Chubb doesn't think that Mick is a dirty player. I'm sure no other players in the league even believe that. I'm hoping and assuming that no other players in the league assume that.
The players know. It's the fans and the media. Otherwise,
exactly, absolutely, and it's typically people who have not played, probably, right? Like who have not had to go up. And I'm saying this as somebody who's played the game, who's had to deal with hitting people who are much larger than they are. It just happens. It just happens sometimes. I mean, I remember hitting a guy who's coming down on kickoff, or kick return, I should say, and I was on kickoff, and I remember hitting a guy so hard, he ended up coughing up blood, and we found out that he ended up breaking 2 ribs. Was my intent to break his ribs? Absolutely not. Was my intent for him to know, don't run my way because you're going to get hit and it's going to hurt? Absolutely, because that's the game of football. But I definitely did not want to break his ribs. He missed the rest of the season because of that. So, yeah, I like I said, I think it's a situation where people who don't play the game are probably having these reactions. But yeah, I don't think anybody else thinks that Mick is a dirty player.
I'll add one more line to this before we head to the next topic. We're seeing a lot of some of the biggest names in football go down and lost for the season. We started with Aaron Rodgers. We continue with J.K. Dobbins. Next was Nick Chubb, and then Trayvon Diggs with his ACL tear. And that was in practice, mind you. So the fact of the matter is, like, yeah, we often forget that, like, when a season starts is very different to when a season ends. Not every team gets their star to stay for a whole season. It's a guarantee that something will change. The NFL is only consistent 2 guarantees.
Yeah,
there will always be a Super Bowl winner, and someone's always going to get hurt.
Yeah, and the thing about, I mean, nobody calls Leonard Floyd a dirty player for tackling Aaron Rodgers, right? You're trying to get a quarterback to the ground. You're not trying to tear his ACL.
No.
So I mean, it's just the case. Now back to Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb will be 28 before the season ends this year, so he'll be going into the next season as a 28-year-old. My question is very simple: yes or no? Do you believe Nick Chubb can and will bounce back from this?
I want to say yes, so I will say yes. But you know how there's the pros and cons here. This is a type of knee injury that is incredibly hard to come back from. The fact that Nick Chubb came back from it once is amazing, like stunning even. But, you know, that was when he was like 20, 21, 22. This is a 28-year-old running back who is accumulating like mileage and a hit count that, you know, the position demands for, especially for his style of play. I want to believe that Nick Chubb can come back. I want to believe that a player of his caliber can maintain the level of efficiency and the works and the standard that he's established for himself in this league. But, you know, I don't necessarily disagree with the fact that some people say that this could be a career-ending injury. I mean, for those who saw it, I saw it in the replays. Knees shouldn't bend that way. And it is a traumatic, terrifying injury. So I want Nick Chubb to come back. I know he wants to come back, but I would 110% not be surprised, not disagree, or not be disappointed or not talk bad if he ever wants to leave, because that physical therapy to come back, incredibly difficult. Yeah. The mindset required to do it, incredibly tough. And he has that mindset. He seems to play that can if there was one player that could do it, it's him. I just do not wish that on someone who deserves so much better than what he's getting.
I'm going to say that I believe he actually can and will. And the reason being is because of the type of running back that you alluded to him being. Nick Chubb is more so a power back who has some breakaway speed. He's not somebody who's extremely shifty. So he doesn't he doesn't really cut hard. He doesn't cut on a dime. He doesn't do a lot of jump cuts or anything like that. He's more of a north and south type runner. Those are the type of runners who I believe can bounce back from injuries like this. Prime example is Adrian Peterson after he blew out his knee. Adrian Peterson, even though he was a faster and a little bit more shiftier back than Nick Chubb is, was notorious for being a downhill runner. North and south, he's going to find a hole and go. And he's going to not try to dance too much in the backfield. He's not going to try to cut people up too much. He's trying to get yards and get in the end zone. And I believe the same for Nick Chubb. So I believe that he actually is more suited to bounce back from an injury like this, as opposed to somebody who may be like a shiftier back who is super reliant on making jukes and cuts. For an example, a guy that comes to mind, a LaShawn McCoy type of running back. Somebody who's making cuts and turns and shifts and jumps the way LaShawn McCoy used to cut and turn and jump and shift. I would see this being a harder issue to come back. But Nick Chubb, he just gives me so much Frank Gore type vibes that I can see him playing well into his 30s because of the style of running back that he is. So, yeah, prayers up again to Nick Chubb. Hopefully he can come back and bounce back from this and bounce back stronger. But we're going to move into our next topic, and our next topic is it's very simple. We've got a couple undefeated teams in the NFL right now. Obviously, it's early in the season, but I want to know, who do you believe is real as far as the undefeated teams? Who do you believe is fake? Like, who is actually undefeated because they are good, and then who's undefeated because maybe the ball rolled a certain way, or maybe they got a call or two, or maybe they just played a team who wasn't at full strength? Who are the real guys? Who are the fake guys? I'm going to run off the list of the undefeated teams in the NFL right now. Right now, the Atlanta Falcons. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Atlanta Falcons are 2-0 for the first time since 2017, and that was the last time they actually made the playoffs. Just throwing that out there. They're 2-0. The Ravens are 2-0. The Miami Dolphins are 2-0. Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to hear it first here. The Washington Commanders, yes, are 2-0. The New Orleans Saints are 2-0. And then we have the Cowboys at 2-0. And finally, we have a pair of teams who are actually playing on Monday night as two undefeated teams. The Philadelphia Eagles are 2-0, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2-0. So, ladies and gentlemen, there are three teams in the NFC South that are 2-0. Just throwing that out there as well. But anywho, who's the contenders? Who's the pretenders here, Juan? Who's real? Who's fake?
I mean, obviously, I think the sole number one contender, like 100% certified, fresh 2-0 team, has to be the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, granted, they took on two pretty mediocre New York teams in the Jets and the Giants. And granted, their defense might be like the main backbone behind this, specifically a linebacker who I had touted as the defensive player of the year in Senior Micah Parsons. But like, it is astounding the level of dominance that this team is inflicting. Mike McCarthy took play calling back after Kellen Moore was fired and sent over to Los Angeles with the Chargers. And so far, it has been a resounding success. Tony Pollard is kicking butt in the ground and pound. Dak, they're taking the ball out of Dak's hands. They're not making him throw down deep as much as they like to. He's mostly maybe not checking down, but taking down the mid to short routes to keep the ball safe and limit turnovers. The defense, my man, the defense is absolutely astounding. It is truly sad the fact that they lost Trayvon Diggs, because Diggs has always been criticized as a guy who's more of a ball hawking defensive back than like an overall like follow the receiver, shut down corner sort of thing. But he is still a tremendous loss. This is a very impactful loss for the for the Dallas Cowboys. But regardless, I have faith that they'll be able to bounce back. That pass rush is deadly. The middle of that defense is smart, is tactical, and so long as you have Micah Parsons manning that defense, and you have Dak Prescott manning that offense, I can't see the Dallas Cowboys bowing down to any team in the NFC too easily, outside of maybe the Philadelphia Eagles, who are still taking their time to develop as a team.
Okay,
that's my contender. My pretender, it's difficult because there's actually quite a few of them. I would have to go with the. I don't want to say it.
Say it.
I'm going with the Ravens. I'm calling them pretenders. Not out of like talent. Look, the Ravens, amazingly talented. Lamar is improving as a passer and is showing comfortability in the new offense in his second week. The reason I say pretender is because the injuries are piling up on this team. It is a story as old as time. I mean, I had an injury report pulled up just now on my screen that show like the list of injuries that this team is facing with. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Come on, Twitter, do not let me down, good sir. Are out. Like cornerback Marlon Humphrey is out. Ronnie Staley, Tyler Lindenbaum, Marcus Williams. Oh no, wait, that was last week.
No, I mean all those names are currently still out. As well as add in Odell Beckham
and Odell Beckham Jr. These are key contributing players. All right, and these aren't, and a lot of them are not like easy like bumps and bruises kind of injuries. These are hard injuries, something that can knock you out for multiple weeks kind of injuries. And as much as amazing and as talented as Lamar is, can he carry this team through this kind of adversity, through this kind of injuries? I want to hope so. I want to believe so. But if you have so many holes on your roster that you have to fill up with backups to the point where like it's starting to fall apart in certain positions, you're not gonna be able to get through the season unweathered. So I'm saying right now that the 2-0 Ravens, maybe you'll get some players back, but I feel like they are pretenders with their record right now. It's all in spite of all the injuries.
Okay. So, I mean, some might say that in spite of the injuries that they're 2-0, so doesn't that make them more so contenders because they're winning without those star guys? So,
well, then we're also looking at the games that they played too.
Gotcha.
Think about it this way, because like the Houston you struggled against a Houston Texans team that was supposed to be one of the worst teams in the league. You couldn't get anything going until at least the third quarter, and even then, it was the Houston still put up a fight against you. And then against the Bengals, while it was a complete and total domination, the Bengals are always known for having a slow start at the start of the season during the Zach Taylor era. That's always been the MO of this team. So, and then you have the Colts next, who are going to be without Anthony Richardson, and you're going in without without a fully intact defensive backcourt. So that's will be something to watch. What I'm saying is I want to see the Ravens take on an actual contending team before like I can label them to being contenders. I want to see like them actually dominate against a physical like rival team, someone like, you know, and on looking at their schedule, the Lions, the Seahawks, the Rams, or the 49ers, but that's way down the line. So I will hold my judgment as to whether they're real or not until they play a much stronger opponent.
Gotcha. Okay. So I do want to add in as well, because I didn't want to overlook them, but they played on Thursday Night Football. Another undefeated team is the San Francisco 49ers. They are technically 3-0. So I did realize that I left them out. So San Francisco 49ers fans, please don't kill me. But yes, they are undefeated as well. So I'm going to say contenders right now who are undefeated. Since you went with the Cowboys, I'll go with the 49ers. I think the 49ers are playing phenomenal football right now. Defensively, they look they're so physical. I mean, everybody hits. Their pass rush is amazing. They've got 4 guys on the front four that are just like they really honestly all should be double teamed, but you can't because it's 3 or 4 guys. Whether it be Nick Bosa or Javon Hargrave or Eric Armstead. I mean, like that front four is absolutely phenomenal. And then to follow it up with Fred Warner behind them, it's a really they look really good right now. Brock Purdy looks like he's kind of settling in his first 300-yard passing game as a starting quarterback. He has not lost as a starting quarterback in the regular season thus far.
Two fantasy teams so far.
Yeah, he's absolutely balling. I mean, Debo is Debo. They won this game without Brandon Ayuk, who is absolutely killing it the first 2 weeks of the season. Christian McCaffrey is, oh my goodness, he looks like Christian McCaffrey. It's beautiful. The 49ers don't have too many holes, in my opinion, and so I'm going to say that
I think TNF put it quite perfectly. When you draft a kicker in the second round of the NFL draft,
you don't have too many holes.
You don't have a lot of holes that you have to fill.
Yeah.
And that is what this team is. And even the kicker, that rookie kicker, is proving to be excellent. He's 9 for 9 on kicks this season.
Jake Moody is the man from Michigan. Go Big Blue. I mean, it's just, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Again, I don't see too many holes in that team. Mm-hmm. And so that's the question is, can Brock Purdy take the next leap? As of right now, he's doing so. He's leading this team. They're undefeated. And so to me, they're probably the most ready contenders, in my opinion. I think the Eagles are right behind them. They're on the cusp. I think they've got to show me a little bit more in the passing game for me to put them like even with them. So I think I have the 49ers just a hair ahead of them. As far as the pretenders, I honestly wanted to go with the Falcons. Just looking at their schedule, right, thus far, they played a rookie in Bryce Young against the Panthers and struggled to win that game. The passing game was absolutely horrific week 1. And then they played a young first-year starter in Jordan Love and won by 1 point. They won the game nonetheless, right? However, they won the game. But they won by 1 point. They did struggle. Jordan Love looked pretty good against that team outside of that last drive to try to get them in field goal position. He threw 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. So I wanted to go with the Falcons as pretenders, but I'm actually going to lean more toward the Buccaneers. And I'm going to say that is because I'm still not really sold on Baker Mayfield. Though he's been playing really good the first 2 weeks of the season, Baker Mayfield is notorious for having some really bad games. And so I also almost went with the Commanders, but I believe that Sam Howell is just playing within the system. He's not doing too much. They're running the football really well. They're playing solid defense. Sam Howell's playing really well off play action. He's getting the ball out of his hands. He's making the right reads. But Baker Mayfield, just his history. Now, if he continues to play the way he's playing right now, I mean, the Buccaneers they could take it all the way. They have the roster to do so. It's so many question marks based on his history. And so that's why, for me, I'm going to go with the Bucs as the pretenders here.
It's funny because like both Baker Mayfield and Sam Howell are very similar in style quarterbacks.
Yes, very similar.
Both very twitchy in the pocket. I wouldn't say that Sam Howell's totally accurate, but he has a play style that's very similar to Baker Mayfield. And also, shout out to Mike Evans. He's my favorite player in the NFL, and I hope you get a big contract afterwards. Okay.
I like it. I'm going to have to ask you one day about why he's your favorite. All right, we're going to jump right into the game picks, ladies and gentlemen. We were going to do a Thursday Night Football recap, but we don't want to keep you guys on here too much longer, so we'll just jump right into the game picks. Juan, if you want to rattle off this week's records and our overall records, we would love for you to do that and let us know where do we stand.
Of course, you would want me to let you know that because you are winning week 2 so far. You won week 2, my guy. You went 12-4 in week 2 picks, whereas Chris and I, also shout out Chris Thomas. Hope you're enjoying your vacation, my man. He went 9-7. I went 8-8. So at least I broke even. And I'm like Mike Tomlin, haven't had a losing record yet. I don't intend to.
I like it.
So with that being said, overall records, you and I, sir, are tied for the lead at 19-13. And Chris has broken even. He's at 16-16.
Solid. All right. Well, we're gonna get into our game picks. We're gonna rattle them off. All right. Again, one explain game, but we're gonna go through our week 3 games. Obviously, we'll give I guess a pass since we're retroactive on Thursday Night Football, so everybody gets that Thursday Night Football win. So everybody
I have it down here too. We all picked San Francisco to win that one, so we're set.
There we go. So everybody, I mean, I would have picked San Francisco regardless. I think we all probably would have anyway. But yeah. So let's go with your game picks, Juan. Talk to me.
All right, I'm pulling them up right now. I'm just trying to organize everything.
Okay, well, I'll go while you get organized.
Go. You go.
All right, so I'm going to start with the Colts and the Ravens. I've got the Ravens here. No Anthony Richardson. Titans with the Titans versus the Browns. Give me the Browns. Broncos versus the Dolphins. Give me the Dolphins. Jets versus the Patriots. Give me the Jets. Bills versus the Commanders. Ooh. It's a good game. I'll take the Bills. Saints versus the Packers. Give me the Saints. Texans versus the Jaguars. Give me the Jags. Chargers versus the Vikings. Both teams looking for wins. Give me the Chargers. Panthers versus the Seahawks. Give me the Seahawks. Cowboys versus the Cardinals. Give me the Cowboys. Bears versus the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs. Steelers versus the Raiders. Give me the Steelers. Eagles versus the Bucks. Give me the Eagles. Rams versus the Bengals. Give me the Rams. And my explain game, I'm going to go with the Falcons and the Lions. I'm going to say that it's going to be a very close game. Jared Goff has been playing really solid football. He is somebody who's notorious for not really turning the football over. He doesn't take a lot of risk. He's just a very efficient guy, very efficient quarterback. They actually probably should have won their last game as well. I mean, they were in the fight the entire time. I just think that they ran up against a team who like potentially just made 1 or 2 more plays than they did. So I like the way the Lions are playing. I question with David Montgomery whether or not he's going to be playing. I don't think he is. I believe Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get the start. So I wonder how that's going to affect them. They may not be as physical in the run game. I know Jahmyr Gibbs is an absolute, lightning bolt out of the backfield. So that's going to be something to be interesting to watch. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's questionable for the game, so we're wondering whether he's going to play or not. I believe the last I heard he's actually out, so that's going to be a situation. And then on the Falcons end, the passing game has been really, really bad. It hasn't been great. Desmond Ridder made enough plays at the end of last game to keep us at 2-0 against the Packers, but it hasn't been great. The running game has been phenomenal. Bijan has been as advertised. The defense has been playing pretty well. In as well. And then Jeff Okudah is scheduled to potentially be back for this game to play. So this will be his first game back, and this will be his first game against his old team, the Detroit Lions. Ray is in the building. Ray, I want to know, how does Juan feel about his prediction that the Dolphins will finish 3rd in their division? We will get there, Ray. We will get there. But yes, that's my explain game. I'm going to go with the Falcons. I think we're just on a high right now, and I'm just going to ride with it, and I think the Falcons squeeze out a tough game.
Who's your pick for Week 4's TNF, just so we can knock it out? That's Detroit at Green Bay.
Yes, Detroit at Green Bay. At Green Bay, give me Detroit.
I'll also take Detroit. Also, to answer your question, Ray, I wore your Miami Dolphins jersey on Sunday, so I am now going with your Miami Dolphins to power through. So yeah, my prediction was wrong. I can be a broken clock can be wrong, or a broken clock is wrong 22 hours a day. I can be right the other two. But yeah. Anyway, my picks for today. For this week, I will be going with the. I'm going to take the Titans over the Browns. I'm going to take the Lions over the Falcons because I'm a homer, quite literally. I'm going.
You said Titans over the Browns. I'm just keeping track.
Oh yeah, I am too. Titans over the Browns, the Lions over the Falcons. I'm going to take the Packers over the Saints. I'm going to take the Dolphins over the Broncos. I'm going to take the Chargers over the Vikings, the Jets over the Patriots, the Bills over the Commanders. This is a trap game that I'm looking at here for the Texans and the Jaguars. I know the Jaguars have always kind of like, I think they've always had the Texans number. I think it's been. So I'm going to go, but I'm still taking the Jaguars. I'm going to go with the Ravens over the Colts, the Seahawks over the Panthers, the Cowboys over the Cardinals, the Chiefs over the Bears, Avery, I'm going with the Steelers over the Raiders. It's not my explainer game. I just want to zip the hoodie real quick.
I ain't mad at you.
I will take the. I'll surprise everyone. If Joe Burrow plays, and I think he will, I will take the Bengals over the Rams. And then my explainer game is going to be this Buccaneers-Eagles game. I'll make it really quick, really brief. This is a battle of 2-0 teams, like you mentioned, Avery. One could be a pretender, one can be a contender. The fact of the matter is the Eagles look like they're still trying to adapt. They're still trying to adapt as into the new style that they're adhering to with regards to new offensive coordinators. Jalen Hurts looks like he's just trying to get back to his normal self. The running game still has been spectacular, especially now that you're getting Kenneth Gainswell back. The defense is absolutely phenomenal, especially with Jalen Carter down the middle, little baby Rhino who's been just kicking butt all over. He was my pick for defensive rookie of the year. Honestly, I appreciate you, Ray. I appreciate you. I really hope that I've never been a Dolphins fan because of their rivalry with the Jets.
Back to your game pick, what?
Hold on. I just want to say this other thing. I'm a huge Tua Tagovailoa fan through and through. I hope he stays healthy throughout the season. That's the end of that.
Who you got?
And then for the Baker Mayfield side, I love for the Tampa Baker Mayfields. I am going to go with calling up. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles to beat the Buccaneers. I hope that Baker puts up a game. I want him to prove the haters wrong out there, and I just love Mike Evans so much.
All right. I'm not mad at it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here at the Air It Out podcast. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to get out of your hair. That guy right there, his name is Juan. My name is Avery. Please do me a favor. Follow us on all your social media platforms. That's Facebook and Instagram at Inside the Hashes, Twitter at Inside the Hashes. And then go on over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and then turn on notifications so you can get your comments right here live in the chat when we do go live. And please, please, please check out the website, www.insidethehashes.com. You'll get everything right there. Literally, you'll get everything right there. Player interviews, blogs, podcasts, and so on and so forth. I want to say thank you to Juan for being a part of this. Appreciate you as always, sir. It's a great, great week of football. We got some really good matchups coming up. But speaking of matchups, one of the matchups I'm actually really looking forward to is the Commanders versus the Bills. One thing I see in Sam Howell is that he passed the football like Matt Ryan. And if Matt Ryan was batting the football,
I knew you were going to go there. I didn't know.
That's all I'm saying. Stop patting.